Okay, I think our next speaker requires no introduction. You come here annually, Katerina. Katerina, you're the CEO of Katerina Perez. You're very widely followed on Instagram. You'll be speaking about the authenticity paradox, building trust and bond in a filtered world. And I believe you have a special guest today. I will say no more,
everyone.
A surprise
Yes,
guest.
You'll find out soon enough. Hi guys, I'm here every year to talk about different elements of social media. And today I want to touch base on authenticity, because we all feel that social media is sometimes about creating a profile which will appeal to others, or creating this persona, now especially with AI developing and so on and so on. But I've always been the advocate for being you, because nothing is harder than being someone else than yourself. And today I've prepared for you a small presentation and some very important questions that I get asked from the industry. And I have a surprise guest who will come on stage in a minute to help me answer your questions. And then if you will have some questions, you'll have a chance to answer them in the end. First, I want to ask you, do you guys run your social media? Raise your hand if you do, if you run your Instagram yourself. Mm-hmm. And do you have a social media manager who does it for you? If you're a jewelry, if you're a company? You have as well. Okay, perfect. Well, today I'm not really to teach you something. I'm here to share the experience which I've garnered over, how many now, 13 years running social media. I was one of the first people to actually bring high jewelry on Instagram. That happened in 2012 when Instagram was about picture and comment. There wasn't pretty much anything else then. So I've seen the whole development of this social media going from very authentic, driven by natural lifestyle, what we have around us, to becoming like a luxury magazine where we created the lifestyle which we felt appealed to many others. Nowadays, with the real, there is lots of kind of demand for authenticity, for being raw and real in the moment. But we are here from the jewelry industry, right? By default, jewelry is a luxury product. So how do we merge being us, being real, and presenting something luxurious and fine? So, as I said, I started in 2012, and I've always called my website and my social media Katerina Perez. When I was working on my Instagram, of course, there were thoughts about jewelry diary, jewelry blog, or anything else. But I felt like this is my personal journey, and I wanted to take my audience on this journey with me. I'm the person behind this account. I'm the one who shares my expert knowledge, my passion for jewelry, all the beautiful finds I see at exhibitions or when I travel across the globe. So it was always my voice and my vision. And even then, intuitively, I felt like I don't want to create something that I'm not, or some kind of blog. I just want to share my passion and build the audience who will love jewelry as much as I do and who will see it through my eyes. And the reason why I started Instagram is because I come from retail background. I used to sell jewelry behind the counter and be a manager of different boutiques in London. And I remember the faces of the people who would look through the windows, and they were literally scared to come through the doors because, you know, high jewelry can be intimidated, right? When we see all the big diamonds and gemstones, we feel like, oh my God, can we even afford it? Like, can we go into the store and explore? And I wanted to bring high jewelry to the audience, and this is what I've done on my Instagram and social media. So now it's been quite a few years. I've accumulated several awards for what I do, and I've run several courses, including how to sell jewelry on Instagram and how to create content for Instagram. And what I've learned throughout the years that Instagram actually can sell. Like, if you know how to do it, because guys, I hear it very often, well, this is just a catalog, this is my business card online. No, Instagram can be a very powerful tool for jewelry industry if you understand how to use it. So that's why today we will give you some insights. So what I wanted to emphasize in this conversation is that even though we are holding a phone in our hands, we don't necessarily see the person in front of us. We see it on the screen. We see the person on the screen. It's all about human connection. Because somehow, over these many years of running my Instagram, I've heard so many people saying, we can feel your passion. We know how much you love jewelry. We can really understand, and you make us fall in love with jewelry. And that's all through pictures and videos online. So how can this happen? This is all happens through genuine connection, genuine emotions. You know, when I hold jewelry in my hands, when I see something here I love, I can't help it. Like, your eyes sparkle in a certain way. You kind of can project your emotions through the screen. And this is one of the things that should happen on Instagram. It's not just about creating a catalog where people will come and see your pretty pictures of the jewelry that you have. And by the way, are you guys all jewelers? Do you make your own jewelry? Raise your hand if you are. Okay. Or if we necessarily talk about jewelry, it can be about your personal account, right? If you're a gem specialist, if you are another blogger, if you are somehow working in the industry. So it can be applicable, the authenticity factor can be applicable to anyone. So here's the first truth I want to leave with you, is that it's exhausting to be someone else. When you try to fit a persona, you end up spending so much unnecessary time and effort, and you always have to fit up to a certain standard which you've created for yourself. But there is nothing better than projecting your own love and passion for jewelry, your vision for the design. I always say for a designer, it's better to have your own style, your DNA, than try to create some commercial jewelry that fits for everyone's taste. In the end, it's better to create your community, and this is what I call my audience. I don't like to call them followers. I like to call them my community, those who share my passion and who appreciate what I show. And that's how you build your tribe. And this is how you build your loyal followers, plus for you guys, loyal clientele. Those who will come and shop with you, not just once, twice, but throughout many years, because they'll be building a collection of your jewelry. But why would that happen? I put here that when you are authentic, something magical happens. You stop trying to appeal to everyone and you start attracting your people, right? And authenticity has always been a bridge to trust. Because let's face it, on Instagram, there are so many accounts out there, like who do I buy from, right? There are so many jewelers. So when you follow that person who you get to know through social media and you build that element of understanding their world, understanding what they project into, online sphere, what is their style, what's their inspirations, what makes them tick, how hard it is to find a stone for their design, so on, so on. When you get the chance to use social media to enter someone's world and understand that person better, you subconsciously build a bond with that other person. And this is how, with time, your audience, your tribe, your followers will want to buy from you and will want to be a part of your world, a part of this wonderful universe. So I put here that you can post thousands of diamonds, but if a client doesn't trust you, they won't spend 5 figures with you. However, when you show up as yourself, when you share your workshop, your doubts, your challenges and struggles, inspirations, then the clients start to feel like they know you. And then when they know, they buy. Frankly, Instagram, it's a little bit old school way to create a catalog, right? When you create an Instagram with polished, beautiful pictures, which are beautifully arranged, yes, by your social media manager or yourself, but they lack soul. Heart, soul, human connection. Then they become just another catalog, but you want to use social media to create the bond and build that trust that I keep coming back to. And this you can only do through projecting a bit of your personality on social media. And here I put, let's be clear. I'm telling you this because because authenticity is the most sustainable business model. It leads to engagement, and engagement leads to bond leads to trust, and trust leads to sale. Do you agree with me? I'm glad to see the bobbing heads. So it's a linear path, but the first step is, where is my presentation gone? What is the first step? To be you, right? The first and the last step. And often we are scared to take that one step because we think, oh my God, there are so many people out there. They'll judge us. They'll see us talking on the camera. How can we do that? And now my surprise guest here coming on stage, Tracy, come. Do you know Tracy Ellison, the Diamonds girl? Tracy, tell us a little bit how you run your social.
Thank you, Katerina. So everybody needs to run their social, following on from what Katerina said, according to their own personal style and their own personal values. And this message of authenticity really, really resonates with me because one thing I've never tried to be is something I'm not, or try to be anybody else. And paraphrasing from Katerina, if you take your true self and you find your own identity and you find your own style on social media, you will automatically gain a community that appreciates and loves what you do. My name, the Diamonds Girl, is very misleading. for two reasons. If you look at me, you will see I am no longer a girl, and I haven't been a girl for decades. I am a woman. So I could change it. I could become the diamonds woman or the diamonds, I don't know, granny, but I'm not a granny, but still, okay? But I chose that name many years ago 12 years ago, because I loved diamonds. And diamonds, as a South African, were an absolute passion of mine. But over the past 12 years, it's evolved, and I've embraced colored gemstones and pearls and everything that this incredible jewelry world that we are all part of has to offer. And today I share absolutely everything, as long as it catches my eye, as long as I love it. So I am a very firm believer in everything that Katerina says. Follow your passion, follow what you love, be authentic and true to that, and the results/sales will come.
And here I presented you both of our feeds side to side to exemplify that my style is very different from Tracy's, but we both have very loyal audience because we are not trying to, be each other. We are our own style.
And there will be brands that approach me and they really want beautiful professional images. Nobody does that better than Katerina. Nobody on social media. Honestly, her every single one of her visuals is a work of art. Mine are raw, and they are far more, I don't want to say behind the scenes because they're not, but they are
real.
They're real. They're very, very real. And there's a place for that, and there's a place for whatever it is that you do and whatever it is that speaks to you. And I think the fact that Katerina's not afraid to do what she loves and I'm not afraid to do what I love is what has made us, who we are and what we are today.
And I think, it exemplifies that there is no right or wrong.
Absolutely.
The wrong would be is to be someone else, but the right one is to find your own style and to channel to your audience. So what we want to do is we've gathered 10 most asked questions about authenticity on Instagram for a jewelry company, and we want to answer them for you. Okay, so the first one, the industry is saturated with beautiful product photos. With everyone posting diamonds and gems, how do we make our brand feed stand out without losing that luxury feel? Is it a relevant question? Pops on your mind?
How do you make your brand stand out? You're competing against the Grafs of the world and the Harry Winstons who have incredible professional photographs. So Katerina, how do you make it stand out?
So obviously when the brands come and work with me, they want to be different, but I always indicate that actually you are the one that makes it different, that makes it stand out. Your feed will be focused around, your personal style of jewelry. Are you more vocal and you're happy to share all different elements of your designs? Are you more kind of reserved and want to have a jewelry Instagram like a catalog? So here it's all about what are you comfortable with, right? Because I've seen in terms of jewelry, there are so many different styles, more polished and sleek, more kind of in the moment. I want to show you quickly what I've just created. There is jewelry designer as a creator, there is jewelry designer as someone who works for a company and so on. So here it's about finding your style. Is it going to be raw and real? Or is it going to be very stylish and polished and high-end? So it has to resonate with you personally. Because when you create content with love and care, it shows. It shows in your videos. It does show.
And just to add on to that, you will very quickly see what your followers or community, as Katerina says, relates to. So if you're doing something and it's not working and you're posting it and it's just simply not getting engagement or people are not responding, switch it up, change it up, do something different. Remaining within your focus or within the style that you like to do, but it can be changed. Instagram is not static. It's constantly evolving and changing. So don't be scared to try something different and switch it up a bit.
Yeah. And I think also one of the questions that brands always ask, like if we want to have a polished account, how do we get this authenticity live element in it, right? So always say, okay, if you want to have a very structured feed, curated with certain style, in stories, you can be raw and real and in the moment.
Agreed.
And that often helps you to touch on the both worlds. Okay, the second one. We know authenticity is the buzzword, but in the jewelry world, where everything is supposed to look flawless, what does being authentic actually look like in a photo or a video? It's a lot about sharing your personal views, your own expertise. You know, funny enough, on social media, you have to remember that each of you is a specialist in jewelry, and your audience doesn't necessarily have the same knowledge. So you are there not just to sell them your jewelry, you're there to guide them and to show them how to style it, how to select it, how to care for it, how to shop for a certain, I don't know, design according to the skin tone, and so on and so on.
Exactly.
So you are a guide into the world of jewelry for your audience. Either you do it through speaking reels or you do it through photo carousels. That's again for you to try, test, and decide your style. But all of these are applicable.
I also think, to add to that, being authentic means exactly that, being authentic. I am absolutely guilty of over photoshopping my photos 10 years ago. So I was so conscious of the wrinkles on my hand or the wrinkles on my chest or, you know, whatever. And I would spend ages erasing them and making sure that every picture was absolutely perfect. I've got over that. I've moved past that. I know that what's really important is that the gemstone or the diamond, the piece of jewelry that you want to showcase, looks exceptional. And when you start photoshopping yourself or the picture too much, it affects the quality of the gem. I would rather showcase a beautiful diamond or a beautiful emerald than myself. I mean, it's not about me. It's about the gems and the jewelry. So I think that really when it comes to this particular question, you know...
Sorry,
Yes?
I thought we were going to the next one.
No,
Yeah.
no. I just think it's really important that you understand that the focus is on the piece of jewelry and on that particular gemstone. It's not on what the model looks like or the influencer holding it looks like. It's about really showcasing that stone, making sure that that comes across as breathtakingly beautiful.
I love that because you see, like, this is what makes us different because I'm a freak of quality. I need the whole composition to be beautiful, the colors, the lights, everything, the clothes matching the stone and so on and so on. And this is audience for both.
And I'm completely on the opposite end of the spectrum. I'm like, and I will get people that will comment and they'll go, oh my gosh, you know, your nails or you're this or you're that. And I'm like, really? I'm holding a 40-carat flawless diamond. Could you focus on that, please? And, you know, that for me is what I'm wanting to showcase. Katerina, everything is just absolutely, it comes together so perfectly and so beautifully, but it complements one another. And there's a space for everyone is really what we're saying.
And I think also nowadays it's important to talk about AI, right? Because AI creates the super polished, exquisite images, which actually I noticed they work really well, but it's a temporary thing because it's a novelty. In the end, it's always better not to overdo it because in the end, people would have doubt, like, do you even have this product? What does it look in real? Are they doing only AI because it's not good enough in real life and they're augmenting it with that tool?
And so in terms of translating that into sales, it becomes a problem because if you've taken, for example, a fancy yellow diamond and you have edited so much that it now looks like a vivid diamond instead of a fancy yellow, when the consumer, when a potential buyer sees that stone, they're going to be so disappointed that the stone is not as saturated as they thought it would be. So I would always recommend, do not over-edit. The stone is what it is. There's a right buyer for every single stone. But if you try and portray it as something that it's not, you are more likely to not only lose a sale, but to lose the trust, to lose the confidence of somebody who could be a potential customer.
This question actually is something I get asked for, during my consultations when I do my consultations about social media with the jewelers. They ask, we're not models, right? We are jewelers. If we want to be authentic and show the real world, do we really have to show our faces or can we hide behind the product? So on Instagram, people buy from other people, okay? They do not often buy from a soulless brand, an image that's been created, we don't know who is behind it, and so on and so on. But of course, you can create an account where you have your presence without showing your face. It can be your hands playing with gemstones. It can be quotes from you. It can be your opinions. It can be a shot of you from your back or something like this. You can still be creative, but it's super important to have a human presence on your account nowadays if you want to sell.
I would completely agree. When I began my Instagram account, I never ever showed my face. And the reason was simply because my husband thought, you know, jewelry, Katerina was doing it on Instagram, but there were very few of us. And my husband thought that people would mistakenly think that I owned all these jewels and that it would kind of make me a target for a robbery or for something
point.
like that. So I never, ever showed my face. I would show the back of me, but never my face. And you know, a decade later, I'm very comfortable showing my face because people understand today that I'm an influencer. I don't own those diamonds. But I also think that we are who we are, and this is what we look like, for better or for worse. I am not Bella Hadid wearing chapard. You know, there are supermodels and there are brands that work with supermodels. We are regular people who are passionate about jewelry, and that passion comes through. For me, it's far more authentic than a supermodel. I mean, I would rather see Katerina wearing chapard than Bella Hadid, but that's just me because I know how much Katerina loves jewelry and how much she would value, you know, wearing those pieces. So, you know, whether you show your face or not, at the end of the day, I would say to gain trust, it's important that people know who they're buying from.
Now, fourth question. We spent hours editing our gemstone photos to make the colors pop perfectly. But if we stop filtering, won't the jewelry just look dull and less desirable compared to our competitors' high edited photos? Now, the answer is here, you don't have to Photoshop a lot, but light is everything for jewelry and for gemstones. That's why here I always run around with light source, with a special handheld light, and lots of jewelers, when they see me, like, oh, we need to buy the same one, what's the model, and so on. The best solution here is to take photos and videos for color stones in daylight, where possible, by the window, outside, and so on. Here, sunshine will play its role. You'll have beautiful picture without too much editing. It will be just perfect. But otherwise, what's your opinion, Tracy?
No, I agree with everything you've said. Sunshine is our best friend. Sunshine is a gemstone and a diamond's best friend. It hits that stone. You see the transparency, you see the sparkle. It really makes it come to life. So if you're ever able to film outdoors, that will always be my number one, you know, recommendation. My pet peeve, which really drives me crazy, is when people use apps that add sparkle. And so you see a necklace and then all of a sudden, you know, there's all these sparkles shooting off it. The question that always goes through my mind is that a pretty dull piece of jewelry that you needed to use special effects to make it, you know, to create something that catches people's eyes? You know, that I would say avoid at all costs. But yes, sunshine, lighting, these are important factors.
Okay, how do we balance the aspirational side of luxury, the red carpets and the champagne, with the relatable real world content that you're talking about? Can they coexist? Well, absolutely, right?
They most definitely coexist. I think that, you know, I'm a firm believer of wearing jewelry every day. I don't think jewelry should be locked in the safe and only taken out on special occasions and red carpet occasions. So I wear jewelry every day and I wear tons of jewelry every single day. But of course, those high jewelry pieces that we see on the red carpet is not something that you want to wear to the supermarket. So they exist. There's opportunities for both. And I think being able to understand and discern the difference, when is it appropriate to wear something and when isn't it appropriate, is important. But most definitely, they coexist.
Yeah, and I think it's very important to show to your audience how they can be styled and that they can be mixed and matched as well on occasions, right? Because you want to show a variety of styling options so that when your client comes, they don't feel restricted to, oh, if it's a diamond pendant, it's only for a gala dinner. And if it's, I don't know, a silver cuff, it's only for, you know, every day going out. So, yeah.
Agreed.
We're worried that if we show the messy reality of a workshop on a polished stone, it might cheapen the perception of our brand. How do we show the behind the scenes without breaking the illusion of luxury? Well, first of all, is the before and after, right? Because we all know that gemstone doesn't come out from the ground, you know, perfectly polished and shiny and all. So there is nothing wrong to show the reality of things. But of course, I mean, me being me with my perfectionism, if you film something from your workshop, if you want to show a gemstone being set and so on, still you have to take care that the workshop is not looking super messy and super real. I know they don't all work, they don't look exactly perfect, but yeah, there has to be an element of how it can look in real life, but also a little bit Instagrammable.
Yep. I once shared some behind the footage scenes of a workshop in India, and I had an enormous amount of DMs coming my way of, that is shocking, and how do people work in that environment? And I was like, but why? It's air conditioned, it's amazing, they all have their own space. Like, I didn't see what the problem was personally. Having been in that workshop, I could see that it was a great environment to work in, and these were very skilled artisans that were making, pretty complex pieces of jewelry. But remember that your audience isn't always as educated in what goes on behind the scenes. So that is one case where I would concur with Katerina. You want to be careful about how you're showing it, not because there's anything to be embarrassed about, but simply because people might not perceive it correctly.
And unfortunately on Instagram, one single negative perception, unfollow. People are very quick to judge without even trying to look into what they're seeing on their screen. So it's better to stay a little bit more neutral to make sure that, your audience is happy.
There is one thing I do want to add to that. So recently, Mariah Carey opened the Olympic Games, and she was wearing this incredible emerald cut necklace from a Antwerp-based jewelry brand. I had seen that necklace in the making. So I had seen the loose stone set on the wax mold, and I'd been able to create an amazing jewelry Instagram reel of how this went from loose stones to being set to being on Mariah Carey's necklace. If any of you are creating your own content and you have a really rare stone, it's beautiful to show the journey, how it went from loose stone, CAD design, through to manufacturing process, through to finished piece. I love seeing that, and I think your audience will as well.
And I think adding to that, if you start creating content for your Instagram, you always leave an opportunity of creating content. So let it be just going to see someone who deals stones. Be prepared that you might already want to shoot something that can contribute to your future post or future stories and so on, so on. So you have to be always ready to film. Okay. Now, storytelling sounds great in theory, but we sell physical objects, right? So how do we actually tell a story in a 15-second reel that makes someone want to DM us about a purchase? First of all, is the jewel itself, right? When it's wow, you can show the jewel to grab the attention and also think of the length of the reel, right? Because the shorter reel always gets more attention because people see it from start to finish. And to algorithm, it signals that this is an interesting piece of content and it will show it to more people. So the little trick here is that you show the piece of jewelry in the short reel, 5 seconds, not more, and then the caption will tell a lot about the piece. Do you have any tricks up your sleeve?
No, the only thing that I would add to that is that there are a lot of tools available on Instagram. You can do a voiceover. So while you're showing the piece, you can be talking and saying, this is a 2-carat diamond, this, et cetera, et cetera. I find people respond really well when you tell the price up front. So it saves you from having to answer inquiries that are simply, unqualified leads or unqualified purchase inquiries. So you can do a voiceover. You can add text over the images that tell a little bit more about the pieces. There's a lot of tools available that you can use to make sure you are telling that story about the piece so that a qualified buyer will reach out to you directly.
And I think a good way to find inspiration is to, when you see something on Instagram that you personally like, that resonates with you, try to imitate it. See how your audience responds. If they like it, you can repeat the success. Analytics is everything on Instagram, right?
Yes.
If there is something that you feel they don't really like, then, stick to the type of content they enjoy.
I mean, we all get those DMs. They say PP. So it took me a while, to figure out what does PP mean. But it means price, please, or HW, how much? I'm like, I'm not going to ever waste my time replying to one of those DMs because somebody who is looking to purchase a fine or high piece of jewelry is not going to simply send me 2 letters, let's face it. So, it's important that we do understand and we do respond and engage with our community, but it's also important that we don't waste time.
Exactly. Question 8, how important are Instagram trends and audio? If we stay authentic to our brand, but a trend doesn't fit our elegant image, do we skip it and risk losing the reach?
Well, I mean, I can tell you now, I've never ever done a GRWM reel which is the Get Ready With Me reel. So that's been like a huge trend for the last good couple of years. It's not in I'm not going to stand in front of the mirror and put on my makeup and put on my outfit and get ready with me to come to INHORGENTA. No, I want to showcase, But in saying that, there are people who have followed these trends and they have seen those reels go viral and they have gained an enormous amount of followers in doing so. What do you think?
It's all coming back to being you, right? Because if it doesn't resonate with you, even if it's a popular trend, don't do it, because in the end we'll look silly, right? Doing these makeup things and so on. But I genuinely do follow trends. I have another account where I look at what's happening in the world of not jewelry, but other kind of industries, to really grab those what's happening now, what people are liking, what kind of content. Is it a carousel? Is it a single picture, or is it a reel? And so on. And if something resonates with me from a different industry and I can translate it into jewelry, then why not? So again, it all has to first feel right for you, and then you try it and see the result. Okay. We want to build trust to make sales, but our DMs are often just price inquiries. How do we move the conversation from how much to building a real relationship with the client online? So unfortunately, here there is no single or easy or quick answer. This is all about building the trust and connection, the bond with your audience through the content that you share with them, and through being responsive. Because, sadly, often when I look through Instagram of different jewelers, in comments, it's like I don't know, a dead field. There is comments from your audience, but there is no replies. But even if someone puts a heart, like you can put a heart emoji back, to give them opportunity to feel appreciated, to make them feel noticed. People who do feel like they mean something to this account, they come back and they keep on engaging. And it does take time, because often, even if it's your potential client or someone who can be your potential client, they don't ask for prices or they don't ask about your product right away. First, they want to get to know you. They want to see, do we resonate? Like, is this the jewelry that I enjoy and want to buy from? What do they have to offer, and so on, so on. And after 3-4 months, sometimes a year or 2 years of following, they're ready to, send a request with price or start commenting and engaging. And the second thing is also consistency. This is a paramount for Instagram. If you pay attention to your content, if you create it with heart and soul, if you've created a certain style and you stick to it, that's how you build your tribe, your audience of those who will follow and who will eventually want to buy from you. In my case, for example, when I started, people often ask like, oh, you show expensive jewelry, because I show high-end and I show often designs which are museum-worthy. Like, you show this expensive jewelry, who is going to buy it? Why are you even doing that? Like, why don't you show something affordable? And I'm like, well, I see jewelry as a form of art that everyone should enjoy. They don't have the time or opportunity to go and see all the beauties that I see, so why don't I bring it to them? And throughout of those many years creating content around high jewelry, I've built the audience of high net worth individuals who did buy what I show. Of course, not every post sells, but there are regular sales of high-end, of expensive jewelry. So it means that when you stick to your style, when you're true to yourself, you will gather the right audience.
I think the other thing to remember is that we're not selling lipsticks and we're not selling, Shane clothing made in China. We are selling a quality product. We are showcasing a quality product. That purchase could come 6 months after you've posted. It could come, people buy jewelry to mark an occasion. It's a birthday, it's an anniversary. There's an emotional connection to the purchase of jewelry. It's not just, I see it, I like it, I want it. So don't get disappointed or discouraged if you're posting things and you're not seeing the sales. What you are doing is building up awareness of your brand and exposure for your brand, and the sales will come when people start trusting you because they see you are online consistently. You're engaging with them. I always say it's called social media for a reason. It's social. You need to socialize with those people that are following you, with your tribe, your community, call it what you want. They want to know that you see them and you hear them and you feel them and you relate to them. That will translate into a sale. It's about being patient. It really is.
Exactly. Yeah. Now, the last question before you guys will have a chance to ask yours. What's the one thing that you see luxury jewelers doing on Instagram right now that you think is actually hurting their authenticity, and what should be stopped doing immediately? Well, one thing I said already, ignoring your audience, not answering comments, being very cold and icy in your DMs. I actually had so many amazing contacts through DMs from people who don't even have an avatar, who first you think, who are these people, and through a genuine conversation, then you understand, oh my God, it's an owner of a high jewelry brand, or it's someone who's building a brand. I mean, my business is different, right? I help jewelers to grow their social, to know how to use it, or to also grow brands, the startups. So that's how I got to work with some startups who eventually became good brands. But, it's all about not judging from the first sight, but trying to look into like, what is happening here? Who messaged me? Why did the message? What's their tone of voice? And so on. And give people a chance to express themselves.
Yeah. I think the only thing that I really could add to that is that I feel that it's important that high jewelry brands use relatable models. So, it's the same. I'm not going to buy makeup from a makeup company that's telling me that a 20-year-old is using the eye cream and doesn't have any eye wrinkles. Shouldn't have those wrinkles to begin with. Okay, I want something that I can relate to. And I think it's really important that the jewelry brands work with relatable, people that are wearing their jewelry, that they are relatable. So for me, I'll be quite honest with you, I understand that every jewelry brand wants their jewelry on the red carpet, and I am fully behind that. But I think for social media, it's not necessary to have supermodels, etc. Make your brand relatable. So that is the only thing that I would say. You know what? Stop using supermodels. Supermodels are polarizing at the best of times. They've all got beliefs, political beliefs, social beliefs. Some people love them, others don't. Don't put your brand in that position. Work with neutral. Because at the end of the day, the spotlight is on your jewelry, not on the person that's wearing it. So I feel strongly about that.
But also maybe talking about models or presenting yourself on social. Neither me, I didn't know what I was doing like some years ago, right? It all comes with trial and error and with practice. Being natural on camera, enjoying doing that only comes with practice. So often I hear jewelers saying, oh, but it's not what I do. Not yet. Start, practice. Don't think about others, what are they going to think about me? Try to, prepare obviously for a video shoot, right? With the right makeup, with the right light. Yeah. And then you'll see the result that often you get inspired by.
Yeah.
The more you do it, the more you love it, the more you it is, the more results you get. So it's like with every profession that you learn, right? Content creation is a profession. We are like photographers, videographers, and so on, so on.
Editors,
so we had to learn that.
Authors, writers, it's a long list.
Exactly. Okay, now we have a little bit of time left, and I would love to hear your questions, if you have any, about social media. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, who's gonna pass the microphone? I'm gonna come to you, Patrick. Who wants to ask the question?
Questions over there.
Okay.
Sorry. Thank you so much for that super interesting talk. I'm a student myself in luxury management, and all day long we talk about authenticity. And even in the case studies that we take on, we see that there's a big issue with big houses, big maisons, combining heritage and exclusivity with commercialization. I'm not sure, what would you think would be a good middle ground for brands like this?
I've completely missed it. Because I was running around with the microphone, so I missed the question.
Okay, I'll repeat. So the issue with big maisons and big jewelry brands today, it seems that it's trying to commercialize while also maintaining its exclusive image. Mm-hmm. So how do you kind of mediate between the two, in your opinion?
It's the way how you show. It's not what you show, it's how you show it. You can take the most basic design and make it look wow, with the way you present it, through video or photo, through the lights you put, through the decoration, the composition of your picture, and so on. The way sometimes model holds that piece of jewelry in her hand with so much love and care, and so on, so on. So it doesn't matter if you are selling, a daily piece of jewelry or $1 million necklace. It all depends how you present it.
Thank you.
I think that every single Maison high jewelry brand has an entry-level line. So whether it's Cartier with love bracelets, whether it's VCA with Alhambra, you name it, Graf, all of them have entry-level lines as well. And it's a very clever hook because it gets a customer in at a younger age who can afford that piece, but who can't afford the $1 million piece. and you start creating customer loyalty and brand loyalty. So I think that the two are compatible. I think it's not expected that these high jewelry houses only produce high jewelry collections. We all want to have a little piece of them. And their entry-level lines make that possible. So I think it's very possible for the two to coexist, and they showcase it on social media. You will see, Tiffany showing something from Blue Book, but you're also going to see them showing their basic necklaces and tea bracelets, etc. So they coexist.
I just also want to add that when it comes to high jewelry maisons, either they make an entry line or high jewelry, it's with the same quality. And that's what makes it different often.
Exactly. Beautiful point.
Okay, and one more question.
Look at Sharon.
Thank you both for your insights and the inspirations. What I'm wondering is, in times of AI, how can I be authentic and how do I find my authentic voice? Because when it comes to images, this is something, how can I work with an image creator as well as with captions? How do you use AI? Do you use AI at all?
So personally, I don't use AI at all. I get tons of DMs and emails from brands that want to collaborate with me, and every email and every DM reads exactly the same. And I know that they've used ChatGPT, create a message to Tracy saying we want to collaborate. They are word for word, identical. It actually really turns me off straight away. So I don't use it. I don't use it for my images, but I think it's a lot of fun, and it can be fun. And I think as long as you're being transparent with your audience that this image or this video was created with AI, then I think why not have fun with it? But if you're using it and you're kind of claiming that that's the genuine, the emeralds really fell out of the sky yesterday, that for me, it's not my personal cup of tea at all.
I see AI as a tool, right? And it depends what you do with that. But I also see AI like makeup, right? If you overdo it, then you'll get the result that puts off. If you do it neatly and beautifully, then it works. But again, AI can be used in so many different ways, and often it augments business. But again, it's all about the balance. If you're preparing caption using AI, reread it, re-edit, make it your own voice, your own style. Or take time to train AI how to write in your own style, right? Because first you think, and then you use this tool to simplify your action, right? For me, AI is there to make our life easier and to speed up certain elements of our work, right? Because there are so many operations about the jewelry business. If you can have AI to, schedule your calls, send out Zoom links, help you with emails, why not? But don't start sounding like AI. Make AI sound like you. Oh my God. I think we can have one more question. If there is one. Muriel, bonjour.
Thank you. Thank you, Tracy. Thank you, Catherine. You know how I admire you and I respect your professionality. I just want to add something concerning first the B2C, because you talk about the purchase online, but there is also B2B. So, and it's Instagram help a lot in B2B also. So I will advise also the brands to develop their website and to do the famous drive to store, because when you click on the page photo on Instagram, you can see the price and you can go directly to the website. So B2C is one thing, but also B2B, to have retailers, it's something super important that the brand need today, because they can have the fame and more community to develop. So Instagram is the best to also grow the B2B. And I would like to ask you your advice, your opinion about the red carpet, because you talk about the celebrities, but also the models. But I want your opinion concerning the celebrity, because we know in USA, for example, it's super important to invest in red carpet for jewels, and also in France, of course, and festival. So I would like to have your opinion, because you didn't take perhaps one moment to explain, but I'm sure you have a very good opinion on that.
Do you mean like, is it worth investing in red
Yes,
carpet?
because I think it's a big dilemma today for the brand
Yeah.
if they have to take a PR, because the PR today more invests in celebrities. I'm sorry to say that, but it's true also. Yeah.
To be honest, I would still say yes, because it's a great way to amplify the image and to help with PR activity, to elevate the brand and to showcase it in a certain way. It doesn't often lead to sales, to direct sales, but sales is not just about seeing something and buying right away, right? We're talking about high-end products, which cost a lot of money. It's about cementing in people's minds, making them dream, right? And next time they want to own a piece of jewelry, they will probably think of that brand that they saw on the red carpet. So it's not a direct sale, it's a very much indirect one, but it's necessary for every brand image.
Yep, I would say the exposure is invaluable because it's covered by every magazine. You know, the celebrity photos are everywhere, and I think it's a great way to get your brand right out there. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for being here. Thank you, Tracy, for this surprise visit. And we all enjoy sharing our knowledge with you. Thank you.